At this moment, you have to ask yourself, what kind of king is this? Kings don't do this. No king would do this. No king would be silent. No king would suffer. No king would substitute himself. No king would submit to anybody else. What kind of king does this? Our king does it. That's why our king is better than your king. Our king is better than whatever you're hoping in, whatever you're trusting in, whatever you're believing in. This is what our king does. What does your king do? Lie to you, steal from you, take from you, abuse you, mistreat you, fail you, let you down, disappoint you? What have the kings in your life done? Failed you. Our King Jesus will never fail because our king is a better king. And ultimately, our king is the one who satisfies. Right now, you're here today because you have a longing in your heart that has been unmet. You're here today because secretly, you want a king. We all want kings. I know we live in America and we don't like kings, but really we want a king. I mean, this is why our lives are organized in the way that they are, because we're looking for someone or something to satisfy our longings. I mean, just consider the state of the relationships. Single men and women looking for a boyfriend or girlfriend to be their king. Make me happy. Give me meaning. Give me life. Love me. Please love me. Will you be my king? And they compromise their convictions and values because, well, they bow before their king or their queen. Wow. I mean, even people get married and they think that my spouse is going to be my king or my spouse is going to be my queen, and they're gonna give me hope and meaning. They're gonna love me, and then you get married and you realize that's not going to work. Or even kids. People have kids and they break their necks and their backs because they make their kids the center of their home. And can I just tell you, if you want to ruin a kid's life, make him their king. Kids are a gift. They were never meant to be your king. You want to see a kid grow up, resent their parents, have parents that only bow down and worship them for 18 years. Send them off into the real world. That ain't how life works. You're doing a disservice to your kids if you treat them as your king. There's only one king. Sex and sexuality, not a king. Never satisfies, dirty and defiled. I mean, just consider even the politics that we're in. Like, I know I'm moving from preaching to meddling right now. It's okay. But what do we see the last 4 years? Give us a king, give us a king. Oh, I don't like that king. Let's go get a new king. And we get a new king, and then it's all the same thing. Yeah. Because only King Jesus can satisfy. I mean, look what it says here. Pilate wishing to what? To satisfy the crowd. There is a crowd in all of your hearts, yelling, calling out for meaning and purpose. And Pilate, wishing to satisfy the crowd, what does he do? He gives them Barabbas, and having scourged Jesus, he delivers him to be crucified. There's one other thing that I didn't tell you about this man named Barabbas. His name is very interesting. You wouldn't get it in Mark alone, so we got to go to Matthew's gospel or church history, and what it tells us is this. His actual name is Jesus. That's why it says they called him Barabbas. Barabbas is a compound word. Bar, Abba, son of the Father. So his name is actually Jesus, son of the Father. And here we see Jesus, the son of the Father, the counterfeit, and Jesus, the son of the Father, the king. Do you want the counterfeit? Or do you want the king? Do you want the fake? Or do you want the faithful? Do you want the counterfeit or the authentic? And you know what? Our hearts do every single time. Give us the counterfeit and crucify the king. Because we're hoping for someone other than Jesus to satisfy the needs of our souls. And they can't do it because people and things make terrible kings. People and things make terrible kings because we want something that's going to satisfy us, and they always disappoint us. They always fail us. They always let us down. But our King, the real King, the true King, the high King, he will never fail you, never abandon you, never give up on you, never disappoint you. He will always be there for you, faithful and true, because he is the real thing. He is the true Son of the Father. He is the true Lord of Lords. He is the true Prince of Peace. He is the true King of Kings, and all power, all glory, all authority belongs to him. People and things make terrible kings because Jesus is the King. Give us Barabbas. No, give me Jesus. Because he is the rightful, true Son of the Father. I love what C.S. Lewis says as we close. He says this. He says, if we find ourselves with a desire that nothing in this world could satisfy, then the most probable explanation is that we were made for another world. Maybe a better way to put it for today's message is if we find ourselves serving kings that cannot satisfy, it's because you were meant to serve a better king.